What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Unbox Analysis. Today, we are here to check out the Leoguar Strider SO. SO is just the denomination for step over. They also have an ST, which has a lower crossbar for step through. Now, guys, we're gonna go over the basics right here. I'm gonna throw some extra stats up on the screen because I'm excited to ride this thing. Now, if you guys have watched the last few videos, we're going through a bit of a bike and scooter review month, okay? If you guys notice over here, we still have the Go Tracks. If you guys want to check that out, make sure to check out the video. I'll put it down below. So starting at this thing, this is a premium electric e-bike. Now these things come in many different levels and prices. I've seen them as high as $10,000 and as low as $500. These things come in at about $1,600 to $1,700 depending on the current sales. Now, if I have a discount code, guys, you know I'm gonna throw it down below. Make sure to check it out, show them some love because this bike is awesome from what I can see. We still gotta test it out and ride it. Now, quick full disclosure, this was sent over to me by Leoguar. Basic specs, this is a class 2 e-bike. That means it's limited to 20 miles an hour. Now, for many people in the e-bike world, you know that with a simple code, you can normally unlock that, get quite a bit higher. With Leoguar, if you want to do that, you email them for the code, they'll walk you through the instructions. For this video's purposes though, we're gonna run the bike as it comes. All right, guys, coming into this e-bike here, let's just talk about some of the basics first. This screen, awesome. I love the detail. I like the way it looks. Check out the numbers. Look how clear those are, how responsive it is. It has trip, mile, time, all locked in there. Now, if you hold this bottom button, you have a ton of different menu options. Battery health, the amount of charges, great for resale value, or if you're looking to buy a used one later on, check the battery life, see how many cycles it's had. Very important. Now, talking about quality, guys, some really big things with quality in these slightly higher end e-bikes are some of the quality, comforts, and basically safety measures you're gonna get. So if we come back on up here, first thing we're gonna talk about is right here on the brakes. These are juiced brakes or a type of hydraulically actuated brake. The amount of pressure it takes to move and stop yourself is crazy low. Super awesome feature to have. Another feature right here, if you guys are mountain biking, you're hitting hard trails, check these out. All the connections up here are actually threaded together instead of just press fit. Don't get me wrong, the press fit ones can be decent, but that is so nice to see. Now, of course, here in the front, you do have your adjustable front shock. On the left side, you have your adjustment lever. On the right side, you have your lockout. Now, this is a multi-stage lockout. You hear the clips, it kind of goes in further. It's gonna lock it out at different heights. Nice to have. Coming stock on these, you do have the Vitirico Mission Commando wheels. These are a 26x4 compound wheel. They come aired down quite a bit, so I would definitely check the air on what your preferred riding is. As you can see, quality-wise, it's just gonna continue all the way through. You have a very nice sprocket setup here, very clean. It's got guards on both sides, gonna keep you and your clothing protected. Coming on down here, you have the Shimano Altus rear gear system. I mean, it's clean, guys. And the motor here is supposedly made by Leoguar. As you can see, powered by Leoguar. All right, guys, and coming in here, something I'm gonna notice on these higher end bikes, check out these welds. They look phenomenal. And you'll notice on the higher end bikes, there's a lot more single pieces involved and a lot less welds. A lot of the slightly cheaper ones I look at, they'll have multiple points and joints welded here. This is gonna be a point of strength on a bike like this. The seat, I have not ridden this yet, but the seat, it looks great. The quality feels nice, but I am concerned this isn't gonna be the most comfortable seat in the world. All right, guys, so with that said, we're gonna jump out into the trails. I'm gonna hit some ramps, some twists, some turns, and we're gonna put this thing through the ringer and see how it does. So, let's get into it. Okay, guys, seat's a little stiff, but so far not bad. We'll definitely check back on that later. Obviously, that's one of those in time kind of things. Now the torque on this sucker's got some torque. Not something I'm used to on an e-bike. Normally the torque is a little lagging. But again, you know, I usually tend to stick to the what I would call cheaper e-bikes. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're definitely gonna be trying out a little bit of pedal assist, but I'm mostly gonna be focused on how the electric battery and how the electric motor can help push you through these trails and how well the suspension works. I am purposely hitting as many of these ruts as I can, and it's, all right, it's handling it pretty good. It's handling it pretty good. Just a fun note for you guys, if you guys notice the fancy looking fashion pants I'm wearing is part of a test haul for some Temu clothing. You gotta try it out, guys. If you wanna see that coming up, make sure to like and subscribe. All right, guys, we are rocking in mode 2 right now. All the modes have different speed and torque settings that kind of push you a little faster, a little further. Brake check. Okay. Not bad. That was some pretty loose sand there. We stopped pretty quick. Oh, somebody cut this tree out of the way. I ran into that tree the other day, guys. All right, so a couple cool features to this obviously are not just the electric components, but the shifting. So it has a quick shifter right down here on the side. This is the quick shifter, this is the down shifter. But it shifts with ease. Hey guys, this thing has absolutely no problem getting up to that 20 miles an hour if you want it. Right now, I'm just using pedal assist, lightly pedaling to keep it moving. All right, coming up to our first little obstacle here. We're just gonna run it. No pedal assist there, guys. I just sent it right over top. All right, so just noticing out some settings here. Level 1 turns off pedal assist and leaves you with full pedal. Good to know, I like that. It's a quick option without having to go too crazy into it, and you kind of get what you need. Switches are very easy to get to. They're right by your thumb, super nice. And level 2 seems to be a lighter pedal assist that definitely helps you maneuver your speeds better. So it gives you that extra little oomph without sending you to the moon right away. So when I'm going up these hills like this, again, I know it's hard to tell in the video, guys, about the hills, but there's some pretty decent ones out here. We'll hit the big ones later and see how it does with full motor power. So level 2 pedal assist is pretty nice because for the most part, it doesn't try to push you much faster than what you're already going. It's really a true pedal assist that just helps you out. Now, a couple of the other e-bikes I have, well, they're older. Not only older, they're cheaper. They were pretty cheap. Back in the day, they were about $1,000, which nowadays they're probably $400 to $500. And their pedal assist it's not very fine-tuned. So I'm very impressed with the pedal assist on this. All right, guys, so this is where we get to the conclusion part of this episode. So I'm gonna throw the times up here. These are the amount of miles we got per charge. Now, keep in mind, the second run through was mostly flat terrain, city streets, stuff like that. Not really any hills other than a couple of slight raises. So my overall initial thoughts, bike's pretty amazing. Now, is it the bike for you? See, that's the tricky part. We talked about all the reasons that this one costs, you know, a little bit more. It's more of a premium bike. But in the end, all I can do is give you guys my opinion. I can't really decide that for you, but I will tell you this, the seat, that was one of my main concerns. Obviously, it shouldn't be a huge concern because replacing a seat, it's not crazy expensive, but when you're spending this kind of money, you know, and it's a fair, decent amount of money, you don't want to have to go buy a new seat or a new light. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But the seat overall, even though it doesn't look fancy, it doesn't look that thick, I never once got tired riding this thing. It wasn't uncomfortable at any point, so well done on that. It feels like a super high quality material, and I respect that. Let's come into a couple of the small issues I had. So if you come on in here, all right, so it's kind of hard to see. We're gonna try my best here. But if you look down here, my front brake rotor is bent. I went back through all of my 360 footage, all of my GoPro footage, my main camera footage. I didn't impact it anywhere, so I'm not sure how or why that is bent. It didn't happen in transit, and it did not come shipped out of the box like that, so it's very strange to me. Now, that said, the brakes are ungodly easy to use. If you're gonna ride a lot, get brakes that are juiced. The hydraulic actuated, the assisted, however you want to pronounce it, they are totally worth the upgrade. So that front rotor being bent really confuses me. There's no way I used the brakes enough for it to be heat warped, so I really have no idea how it happened. All the footage I had, everything I looked through, no impacts. There's no impact marks on the whole rotor itself, but that said, even being bent, this thing stops on a dime and there is no weird noises with it being bent. You would think that it would be rubbing and making noises, but it doesn't. So good on them on that one, I guess. I would love to see companies start putting better lights on. I mean, you look at like the $800 Timu scooter, that light is crazy bright. So if they can do it, Leoguar, I'm talking to you guys. You guys can too. I want one of these companies to really step up and just put an awesome light on there. It's not that expensive and I would love to see it. Now, with that said, you can easily buy your own light like the Woobin that I've previously shown off. That one might be a little overkill. It's about $160, but you'll never need another bike light again. But this light here, as far as working goes, yes, it's gonna shine out in front of you, probably 20 to 25 feet. Gets a little darker towards the edges, but there is no peripheral vision, none. So if you're turning a corner, you wanna know what's around that corner before you turn to make it, right? You can't do that with these lights. A lot of these lights are like this on these bikes, and just a little pet peeve of mine. But as far as everything else is concerned, the screen, phenomenal. I love all the extra data you get. A lot of other e-bikes don't have that kind of data. The most they're gonna give you is total miles. This one shows cycles charged, miles ridden. Really nice to see that included. A little bit better battery management system in this one. And another little one, it's a $1,700 bike, guys. It would be great to have an actual horn on these. A lot of people who are gonna be riding these, they're gonna be commuting long distances with them. And personal thoughts, if you gotta get somebody's attention, that's usually not gonna cut it. I would almost rather see them not include a bell like this than to include it at all. Or, go right to a little horn. Tons of scooters are doing it these days. Super easy to implement. But again, these are very small points. Overall, this is a killer e-bike. This thing is a blast to ride. It handled the trails like no other. This thing, no joke, will go up trails that the Go Tracks couldn't touch. That's a dual motor 1,000-watt scooter, and it could not go up the hills. This thing went up with pretty much ease. Like, I was very impressed. With that said, one more thing I'd like to see on a bike at this cost. I know this is not everybody's taste, so maybe that's why they don't include it. I'd love to see a rear rack. If you're paying this kind of price, it's unfortunate to have to go and buy the extras because this is a premium e-bike. But again, you guys let me know down below if you guys do a lot of mountain biking or e-biking. Is that something you would even want on a bike? Maybe that's just a personal preference. But still, I appreciate Leoguar for sending this out. This bike is an absolute monster. I'm actually gonna be keeping this one. This one's gonna be hanging around. So if you guys want me to test anything else with it, make sure to throw it down in the comments and let me know. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around to the end, and we'll see you on the next one.